The Raven's Whisper. Zara traced her fingers over the ancient papyrus, its brittle surface covered in hieroglyphs and strange symbols. The musty smell of the university's archives filled her nostrils as she hunched over the fragile document, trying to decipher its secrets. At 17, Zara was the youngest intern the Cairo Museum of Antiquities had ever hired. Her gift for languages and obsession with Egypt's mysterious past had opened doors usually reserved for much older scholars. But after weeks of poring over dusty texts and artifacts, she wondered if she'd made a mistake. The other interns avoided her, whispering that she was too intense, too eager to prove herself. With a sigh, Zara sat back and rubbed her eyes. The symbols swam before her, taunting her with their indecipherable meanings. A flash of orange caught her eye, as she was about to give up for the day. In the corner of the papyrus was a small illustration she hadn't noticed before. It showed a woman's face with bright orange skin, large almond-shaped eyes and full lips. Atop her head perched a blackbird, a raven, Zara realized. Something about the image sent a shiver down her spine. Leaning closer, Zara noticed faint writing beneath the illustration. Squinting, she managed to make out a few words in ancient Egyptian. She who walks between worlds, guardian of hidden knowledge, speaks her name to unlock the veil. Zara's heart began to race. Could this be a clue to unlocking the papyrus? Without thinking, she whispered the first name that came to mind. Neith. The name of the ancient Egyptian goddess of wisdom seemed to hang in the air. For a moment nothing happened, but then Zara felt a strange tingling sensation spread through her body. The room began to spin and blur around her. With a gasp, she felt herself falling, tumbling through darkness. When Zara opened her eyes, she found herself on an excellent stone. Sitting up, she looked around in confusion. She was in some ancient temple, its walls covered in vibrant paintings and hieroglyphs. Shafts of golden sunlight streamed through narrow windows, illuminating dust motes that danced in the air. "Welcome, seeker." Zara whirled around, at the sound of the melodious voice. There, standing before her, was the woman from the illustration. Her skin glowed a warm orange in the sunlight, and her eyes seemed to hold infinite depths of wisdom. The raven perched on her shoulder, regarding Zara with an unerringly intelligent gaze. "Who are you?" Zara stammered. "Where am I?" The woman smiled. "I am Neith, guardian of hidden knowledge. You have passed through the veil between worlds to my sanctuary. The question is not where you are, but when." Zara's mind reeled. "When? You mean? I've traveled through time." Neith nodded. "In a manner of speaking. This place exists outside of normal time and space. It is a nexus point where past, present, and future converge." The raven cawed softly as if in agreement. "But why am I here?" Zara asked. "Because you sought answers," Neith replied. "Your thirst for knowledge and understanding is called out across the ages. I sensed a kindred spirit in you, Zara, one who could potentially become a guardian of wisdom herself someday." Zara's eyes widened. "You know my name." "I know many things," Neith said with an enigmatic smile. "Come walk with me. There is much to show you." As they strolled through the temple's winding corridors, Neith explained more about her role as a guardian of knowledge. "Since the dawn of civilization, there have always been those who seek to hoard or abuse knowledge for their gain," she said. "My task is to protect the most powerful secrets and ensure they only fall into worthy hands at the right time." "What kind of secrets?" Zara asked eagerly. Neith's expression grew serious. "The kind that could reshape the world, for better or worse. Lost technologies, forbidden magic, prophecies of things to come. In the wrong hands, such knowledge could bring ruin." But used wisely, it can elevate humanity to new heights. They entered a vast circular chamber, its domed ceiling painted to resemble a starry night sky. The walls were lined with countless scrolls, books, and strange artifacts. At the center stood a pool of shimmering water. "This is the Well of Visions," Neith explained. "Through it, one can glimpse echoes of past and future events. But be warned, the future is ever-changing. What you see may not come to pass." Zara approached the pool, mesmerized by the swirling patterns on its surface. As she gazed into the water, images began to form. She saw great metal birds soaring through the sky, carrying people across vast distances. Strange boxes that allowed instant communication across the globe. Towering cities of glass and steel. But she also saw darker visions, wars fought with terrifying weapons, natural disasters ravaging the land, and people living in fear and oppression. "The coming age will bring both wonders and perils," Neith said softly. "The choices humanity makes will determine which path unfolds." Zara tore her eyes away from the dizzying visions. "But what does this have to do with me? I'm just a student, not some great leader or scientist." "Every great journey begins with a single step," Neith replied. "You have a rare gift, Zara, the ability to bridge the gap between past and future, to learn from history's lessons, and apply them to the challenges ahead." The goddess placed a hand on Zara's shoulder. "I have chosen you to be my apprentice. To learn the ways of the Guardians, and help guide humanity towards a brighter tomorrow." Zara's head spun. It was all too much to take in. "But my family, my studies. I can't just leave everything behind." "You misunderstand," Neith said gently. "I'm not asking you to abandon your life, quite the opposite. Your experiences in the modern world are vital. You will be a bridge between two realms, able to walk in both the mundane and mystical worlds." The raven suddenly took flight, circling above their heads before landing on a nearby pedestal. Perched atop was an amulet, a small golden disc etched with symbols. "This talisman will allow you to return here when needed," Neith explained. "Simply hold it and speak my name. But use it wisely. The veil between worlds should not be crossed lightly." With trembling hands, Zara took the amulet. As soon as her fingers touched the cool metal, a jolt of energy coursed through her. I don't know if I'm ready for this," she admitted. Neith smiled. "No one ever feels truly ready for their destiny. But I have faith in you, Zara. Now, it's time for you to return. Much awaits you in your own time." Before Zara could respond, the world began to blur and spin once more. She felt herself falling, tumbling through darkness. With a gasp, Zara's eyes flew open. She was back in the museum archives, slumped over the ancient papyrus. For a moment, she wondered if it had all been a vivid dream. Then she felt something cool and metallic pressed against her palm. Opening her hand, she saw the golden amulet nestled there. It was real. It had all been confirmed. As the total weight of her experience sank in, Zara felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Her life would never be the same. But she was ready to embrace the challenge. Over the next few years, Zara threw herself into her studies with renewed passion. She devoured every scrap of ancient lore she could find, always searching for hidden meanings and connections. Her professors marveled at her intuitive leaps and uncanny ability to decipher obscure texts. But Zara knew her proper education happened during her secret visits to Neith's sanctuary. There, she learned to hone her natural talents, tapping into wells of mystical energy she never knew existed. The raven became her constant companion, appearing to offer guidance or warnings in the real world. As she grew into her role as an apprentice guardian, Zara began to understand the weight of responsibility she carried. The knowledge Neith shared was potent and sometimes dangerous. She had to be careful how she applied it in her everyday life. There were times when the burden felt overwhelming. Zara was still a young woman, trying to navigate college life and relationships. How could she balance that with her mystical duties? But she would remember Neith's words whenever doubt crept in. You are a bridge between worlds. Your human experiences are just as vital as your mystical training. And so Zara learned to walk the line between two realms. By day, she was a brilliant archaeology student on track for a prestigious career. By night, she was the apprentice of an ancient goddess, unlocking the secrets of the universe. As graduation approached, Zara prepared for her most significant test yet. A powerful artifact that threatened to fall into the wrong hands had been unearthed. It would be up to her to secure it, using her scholarly knowledge and mystical abilities. Zara knew the road ahead would be challenging. But as she clasped the amulet around her neck, she felt a surge of confidence. She was no longer that uncertain girl who had stumbled into Neith's realm. She was a guardian of wisdom, ready to help shape humanity's future. With a deep breath, Zara stepped out into the warm Cairo sun. A new chapter of her journey was about to begin. And somewhere, in a realm beyond time and space, she knew Neith and the Raven were watching over her. The talisman's magic had awakened a power within her. Now, it was up to Zara to decide how to wield it. As she walked towards her destiny, the words of an ancient prophecy echoed in her mind. When past and future collide, a bridge between worlds shall rise. Guardian of secrets old and new, the Raven's chosen shall guide us through. Zara smiled. She was ready for whatever adventures lay ahead.